Hey guys, it's Sarah for Chromayati and welcome to my channel. It's a new year, it's a new me. We're having fun in the studio again, and today I have a super exciting painting for you, and it's actually mimicked off of this one right behind me. I've been asked many times on social media how I did this painting, if I could do a demonstration, and guess what? Today is the day. Ooh, big applause! So I've been seeing this style of art pop up more and more, and it's easy to see why. It's this beautiful combination of modern line work mixed with some other type of artwork in the background. And I first discovered it probably about 5 or 6 years ago by following an artist called Tracie Cheng. If you don't know who she is, please look her up. She's a phenomenal artist. And I just fell in love with the movement of her line work. Now, I am by no means an expert at this. Literally, the painting behind me is the one and only painting I've ever done that has looked like this. So basically, what we're gonna do is we're going to make some of the darker background shading. Then we're gonna build up with white to kind of make it look like clouds on top. And then we will do the line work. So let's get started. Okay, so the reason why I'm gonna be using a Stay Wet palette is this underpainting part is probably gonna take me more than a day to do. And these are great because they're gonna keep my paint wet for as long as I need it to be. There's a sponge under here that has some water on it, and this is special palette paper. And then you just put your acrylic paint right on top, and it keeps it from drying out. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some paint on my palette. And I'm honestly not sure 100% which colors I'm gonna use and which colors I'm not gonna use. I have a good guess here, but a lot of the paintings that I do that are like this, honestly, I just put a bunch of paint down close to the color scheme I want, and I blend as I go. So I like to have a variety of things down to play and test. Right now I just have some black, white, and I'm gonna use both versions of Paynes gray that I like. And I'm gonna throw down some browns as well. Going for a very kind of neutral, cloudy day kind of sky. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of bronze too, because sometimes metallics, when blended with blue and darker colors, can do some really awesome things. So I also have just like a cup of water right here, and I'm really just gonna mostly use this one kind of bigger rounded brush. I'm just gonna put some paint down and see what happens. So the reason why this is gonna take more than a few hours to paint the background is you're gonna have to let things dry. The key with getting really beautiful, sophisticated, abstract artwork is typically just building up your paint. The layers and the blending is what give it life and don't make it look so flat. My paintings, I always like to take everything over the edges. I think it just gives it a really nice finished, complete look. You could also always finish the edge with just a solid color. Alright, so now to get a little bit more dimension and life happening in this background, I'm going to use some lighter and darker shades, and I just cleaned my paintbrush off so there's a little water on it, but not very much. And we're just going to kind of blend Because this is a sky cloud-like piece, I'm kind of using some circular motions with the paintbrush. Add a little bit of color into the cloud area so that I'll be able to see the white on top of something. Areas where the clouds are going to be, I wanted to go a little lighter, and then I'm going a little darker near the center where the line work is going to be. It's going to make it pop more. The key with blending this properly is honestly just having the right amount of water on your brush. When I feel like the paint's getting a little too dried out, you can see that I'm just barely kind of sticking the tip of my paintbrush in the edge of the water, just so that there's a little moisture on there. And then if you have too much, you can use your paper towel and just kind of dab it, or kind of wipe your brush off. This is definitely more of like a dry brush technique. I like doing acrylic paintings this way because it gives you a really nice blended effect. The key is also to just make sure you're balancing your darks and your lights and moving the paint around. See that I'm not just doing one spot of one type of thing. I'm kind of moving all over and adding in new dark and light spots so it feels balanced. Alright, so I feel like that has a good amount of dark and light going on. I'm going to be doing a lot more blending when I add in the clouds, but I think that's a good start. I'm gonna let that dry and then I'll do the clouds. All right, so for the clouds, I'm mostly gonna be working with white, but I'm gonna add in still some hints of these other colors around here. And then I'm gonna go add in more detail back on top just so you get some depth. What you really want to focus on with the blending here with the white is making sure you're getting the most opaque white near the outside and working inward, blending it in with the rest of your sky a little bit. And a lot of times that's just a matter of how much water you have on your brush to allow you to achieve that. Tap with the edge of your brush too, around the edges. It kind of gives it some other different texture in there. So I'm pretty happy with this background and the way it turned out. And the next part is where it gets tricky. I've had a lot of time to think about this because I made the painting behind me almost a year and a half ago. But the solution I think I'm gonna go with for you guys is actually using tracing paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay this on top of my canvas. And it honestly would be nice if it was just a little thinner so I could see through it a little better. But I'm gonna kind of line this up. Trace my canvas. Okay, so it's a halfway decent outline. So I'm gonna work on this outline and then I will be back to show you the transfer process and drawing my line work. All right, so I am back with my beautiful line drawing. And I'm gonna be honest here, I'm super glad I drew it fully out this time. Because this took me about 4 hours to draw correctly, and there was tons and tons and tons of erasing. I don't know how Tracie Cheng does it, but when she draws, she just does it all by freehand, and it's so fluid and so beautiful. But in order to do that same kind of precise line work, like, I really have to draw and erase and think about where things go a whole lot more than that. So mad props to her. She's a line drawing genius. So I initially thought I was going to transfer this just by taking a pencil and rubbing it on the back and getting some of that lead to stick. Then I realized this canvas is a little too dark and has too much texture to it for that transfer to actually be useful to me, and that it might work a lot better if I used some chalk. So I'm just going to do the same thing I was going to do with my pencil, rubbing it on the back behind the design, except I'm going to do it with white chalk so that it transfers. So I'm just going to take that all over the back of your design. Try to get a good amount on there so that I don't have to do it more than once. I am hoping that's good. Oh, that was a hand workout. Okay. I want to tape it down just to make sure it doesn't move on me. All right, so now I'm just gonna go trace over all of my lines all over again, and those are going to be transferred, and then I'm going to trace that again with a fine tip Deco Art gold pen, and should have everything on there. All right, so that's done. And there you go. You can see I have my nice chalk outline of exactly where I want my line work to go. So with these markers, you just shake them up really good. And you press down on them to get some ink flowing. And you just draw. You could also do this with just some gold paint and a paintbrush, but these give you like a really reflective, nice gold finish. And personally, I find it a little easier to draw a line with something that's a marker or a pen versus a paintbrush. But, you know, if you don't want to invest in buying one of these markers, feel free to just use some paint. So now to get rid of any of this little extra chalk here, just have some clean water. And I'm just gonna do this on our canvas. I'm just gonna brush it all over. Wipe it away with a paper towel. So now I'm just gonna go in and add a little bit more cloud here and here, maybe even a little here, so I'm getting the full effect that I was really going for. And this may take a little back and forth to get right. Drawing and redrawing the line and blending it in with the paint. Alright guys, so this is the final design. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think it has a good amount of contrast and balance and is somewhat similar to what I made the first time, so I'm happy I was able to recreate that for you all. And now I'm just going to cover it in a layer of resin because I think that's really going to help some of this fine detail in the darker areas here pop. And it's just going to put a nice protective coat on it. So I'm going to do that. I'll show you the final results and I hope you enjoy this video. If you've not already, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.